If you're excelling at work, you might have noticed that some of your coworkers might be treating you a little bit differently. In this video, we're going to talk about, is your coworker threatened by you? That's what we're talking about in today's video, so stay tuned. If you're anything like me, you might have had in the past or currently, you might have had a coworker or two who treat you a little bit differently. Maybe they are a little bit jealous of you, maybe they're threatened by you, or maybe they just don't like you. Whatever the case is, we're going to talk about today the things that they might be doing or the signs that you might see if your coworker is specifically threatened by you. So let's jump into it. The first sign that your coworker is threatened by you is they avoid eye contact with you and they seem uncomfortable when you're around. One of the easiest telltale signs if somebody is comfortable with you is they make eye contact directly with you. That's because when you make eye contact with somebody, you have a very intimate or maybe just a friendly relationship where you're comfortable and you want to make sure that you're giving them the respect of saying, I'm paying attention to you. If you've noticed that your coworker specifically is avoiding eye contact with you, it's because they don't want to be personally connected with you, or they don't want to have that kind of personal interaction that shares familiarity, that shares comfort, and it might be a sign that they're avoiding you, or it might be a sign that they're threatened by you. So if you've seen that this person's body language is consistently removing themselves away from people, maybe they're just extremely introverted. But if it's something where, this individual, the person that you're thinking of, interacts, their body language is normal, they have sort of that regular candor or rapport with other people, and then when it comes to you, they're actively avoiding eye contact with you, maybe they don't want to talk to you, maybe they, turn their back to you, whatever that might look like, that might be a sign that they are threatened by you. The second sign that a coworker is threatened by you is they go out of their way to undermine you or discredit your ideas. Unfair criticism is really difficult, especially when it comes from people that you don't like. If you've seen that your coworker goes out of their way to make sure that people know that your ideas aren't very good, that you aren't a very hard worker, whatever that looks like, if they're going out of their way to make sure that you are the one that needs to be thrown under the bus, it's a good sign that this individual is threatened by you. It's always hard to tell what undermining behavior is. It's kind of one of those things where you know it when you see it, or if you are experiencing it, it comes a lot from people's intentions. But if you have an idea or you are working on a project and you see that individuals, if this particular person is commenting on your choices and how they're kind of ill-informed or not very good, or they're talking about ulterior motives behind your success, if they're saying, well, this person did this, or one time I was working with a coworker and they said, oh, well, that person's only moving up on the ladder because they slept with the CEO. Those type of things are very clear that someone's trying to undermine or that they're very threatened by you. And another thing is this individual might be pointing out your perceived failures in a very major way. So if obviously if you're being successful, they're calling out why you're successful and giving the credit to someone other than you. And then when you fail or when you do something wrong, they say it's because this person isn't very good, it's because they're not very smart, it's because of, fill in the blank. But whatever that reason is, it's a really good indicator that that person might be threatened by you. The third sign that your coworker is threatened by you is they actively try to get other people to turn against you. They might be gossiping about you, they might be talking about you in a negative way, they might be building some sort of case to make sure that people view you in a light that's other than authentic. While it can be frustrating and emotionally draining if somebody is trying to constantly turn people against you, if you think of your kind of group or you as an individual, if you can build out networks and build out your reputation with other people, eventually it'll get to the point where if this individual that you're talking about or you're thinking about is actively trying to constantly make you look like a failure, make you look like you're not very good, or turn other people against you, your network or your reputation will shine brighter than what that person has been saying about you. And the easiest thing that a lot of us try to do when someone's undermining your credibility or someone's kind of making people turn against you is you want to immediately fight or push back or kind of call this person out. Honestly, the most effective way of dealing with somebody who's trying to undermine your credibility and make your reputation look really bad is just to focus on doing really solid work. Instead of trying to go back and right every wrong that this person has said, just do your best and make sure that you stand out. And then eventually it'll get to a point where other people will start to notice and say, actually, the person that's been spreading these rumors is not correct. And really, you're a solid worker. So for this particular example, while people will go out of their way to gossip about you or to spread rumors about you or to turn other people against you, the best thing that you can do is just really hold your own, make sure that you're doing effective work, and then make sure that you're building out networks and reputation. Number 4, the fourth sign that someone is threatened by you is they try to take your spotlight or they try to steal your credit. We've all been on teams, and I am one of those people. We've all been on teams where you have kind of a group effort, a group project, everyone contributes, the project turns out amazing, and then there's one person who stands out in front and says, I was the reason that this was so successful. If you're seeing that someone is trying to steal your spotlight or steal your credit, it's probably a sign that they're threatened by you. Genuinely, if somebody is trying to not give credit where it's due, or they think that they're kind of too big for their britches, as they say in Texas, if somebody is trying to steal the credit for the work that you did or that a team did, it's probably likely that they're insecure about their status within the organization. They're insecure about where that, kind of how they fit into the overall structure, and they might be fighting for their jobs if they think they're going to get fired. What that means for you is if someone is threatened by you and they start taking credit for your work, from a place of sincerity, bring up that it was a group effort, that you had other people on the team, and maybe highlight some other examples of what other team members have done to kind of spread the spotlight, spread the positivity, and not just focus on one individual. The fifth sign that your coworker is threatened by you, they give you the silent treatment. As childish as it may sound, this is a real thing that happens. If you are noticing that you have a coworker who doesn't talk to you, who avoids speaking with you, avoids meetings with you, it might be that they don't like you, but it's probably more likely that they're threatened by you, or they think that somehow that their lack of communication with you is going to affect your ability to complete your job. So it might be some sort of undermining, some sort of sabotaging, but altogether it really is that this person is just threatened by you or doesn't want you to be successful. Now I want to preface this by saying some people are extremely busy and they are just really terrible communicators. I have a lot of friends that I always joke with them about how bad they are at communicating, because you might say, hey, let's hang out. They make plans with you and then they totally don't talk to you, after that. That's completely normal. Or if somebody's super busy at work and they just forget to respond, or they don't talk to you. But if you've noticed that somebody is actively avoiding you, or you've had some sort of conversation either with them or with their team members or with their supervisor, and they say, yeah, talk to person A, and you're like, hey, I need to talk to you. If they're actively avoiding you or making up excuses for why they can't meet with you, probably a good sign that they are threatened by you. And the best thing to do in this situation is just to keep a paper trail, if you can keep a paper trail of the types of communications that you've tried having. Let me try that again. The type of communication that you've tried having with them, or other situations in which you've tried collaborating with them, communicating with them, and they have actively avoided you. The reason that you want to keep this paper trail, even if it's just a series of email follow-ups saying, hey, do you have time to meet today? Hey, can I talk to you about this? And if they don't respond, if something happens within your organization where the project doesn't get complete or there's a delay of some kind, you can show your supervisor, I tried meeting with this person, they refused to talk to me. Can you step in and help? Because a lot of times those personal conflicts, those interpersonal conflicts can be resolved with some leadership, especially if you have a manager or supervisor who's on your side. You can actually pull them and say, hey, I don't want to work with this person. I don't really even like this person, but can you have them work with me so that we can complete the project that we need to complete and then move on our merry way. And the sixth sign that, someone, your coworker, is threatened by you is they kind of just act passive aggressive altogether. This might look in the form of snide comments, passive aggressive actions, whatever that might be. And a lot of times it's action-based or behavior-based. So someone might say something passive-aggressive to you, but they will most likely act passive-aggressive toward you. And all of the things that we talked about earlier in this video kind of fit into this category. But it's kind of, if you see that there's more than one of these signs put together and you're seeing that there's some sort of passive-aggressive behavior continuing to happen, it's a good sign that your coworker is threatened by you. Now, what do you do? I'm just going to talk about this very broadly. What do you do if your coworker is threatened by you? If it's somebody that you don't really need to work with, if it's, let's say, somebody in a different department that you don't interact with, just let it go. Honestly, it's probably a lot easier to just not talk to them at all. Let them be threatened by you. Let them have their little moment of being upset or whatever, and just kind of let it go. If it's somebody that you need to work with every day, it's important that you can build some sort of professional working relationship. Even if you don't like them, they are threatened by you, there's some sort of animosity going on, or there's some sort of, kind of bumping of heads. If it's something like that, you don't really have to get along with every single person you work with, but you need to have some sort of professional working relationship. So you want to make sure you either have that conversation with your manager, get them to kind of step in and make sure that everyone knows the ground rules, or just have a conversation with the person that's really not treating you very well and just say, hey, I don't, maybe you don't say that you don't like them, but you can say, hey, let's figure out how we can work together to make sure that we can get things done effectively. And then just kind of set out a workflow and say, this is kind of the workflow I'm thinking of. What do you think? And then if they agree to that, it makes it a lot easier because then you just say, great, that's the workflow, and you just don't go outside of that. But I want to hear from you. Let me know in the comments, what other signs do you notice of coworkers being threatened by you? And if this video is helpful, don't forget to leave a thumbs up. It really helps me out. And until next time, I'll see you on the next one.